Hey there, Heretic. I'm Rishi Kular, Head of Product, and today I'm going to walk you through how to create, train, and run custom extraction models in Heretic. Let's get started. The problem I'm trying to solve is that I have 515 contracts here and a governing law field that's blank. And I don't want this field to be blank. I want the governing law to be filled out like this, with the laws of the state of New York, the laws of the state of Texas, California, whatever the case may be for that particular contract. But I don't want to do this work manually. I want a machine learning model to learn how to auto-populate this governing law field for me. So that's the problem and a hint at the solution. The next thing I wanted to dive into is the workflow for how I'd get there. You'll notice that I have two save searches here. Governing law backlog with 515 documents and governing law is blank, and governing law reviewed, where I have 111 documents and governing law perfectly filled out. Now the workflow here is pretty straightforward. I just start in the backlog, click into the first document, I'll find the governing law, in this case, it's the laws of the state of Delaware. I'll send it to my governing law field, and then I'll simply mark off that I've reviewed this example for governing law. Now this field here is, you'll notice there's assignment paragraph and inline contract title, and so I'm using this field to kick it over to the governing law reviewed save search. So I'll save. And let's do this one more time. So I'll go find governing law. In this case, it's the laws of the state of New York. It looks like this example was also used to build an assignment model, but I'm also going to use it for my governing law phrase. And so again, ticking off governing law phrase here will kick this document from backlog to reviewed. So I'll save. And if I go back to my reviewed save search, I should notice that it went up by 2 documents. And so now I have 113 examples in my governing law reviewed save. Now looking again at this field, we'll see that governing law phrase is populated for all of these documents, indicating that all of these are examples of governing law. And so this save search here is my training source. It's what I'll leverage to build my custom extraction model. You'll notice for this document, I have assignment paragraph and governing law phrase. And this is helpful because I know for this document, I used it to not only present an example for governing law, but also I sent the assignment paragraph to a field to build a separate assignment model. You'll see over here, I have an assignment backlog, an assignment reviewed, but since I have coded this choice field, I do know for each document which type of model it was used for. Now this governing law reviewed save search, you can sort of think of as if you gave a friend a stack of stapled together contracts that you went through and highlighted governing law in yellow, and you said, hey buddy, use these as examples, and please, over there you'll see another much larger stack of contracts. Learn from what I gave you, the examples, and please go highlight governing law in that other stack of contracts. Except in this case, your buddy is Heretic. Okay, let's get to model building. First step is to go to the Heretic Model tab. New Heretic Model. I'll call this Custom Governing Law Extraction Model. For model type, select ML Extraction. Here, I'll give the description, just an example of the type of pattern we're capturing. For training notifications, I'm going to put my email here to get an email when the training for my model is completed. And I want to populate an existing field here. I'd like to auto-populate this governing law field, which Of course, the whole purpose of this exercise is to auto-populate that governing law field. For model training, the field that I want to train on is, of course, the governing law field that I populated already manually via those examples in my governing law reviewed save search. And the training source is that governing law reviewed save search, where I have all of my governing law examples. Existing value options is just saying I want to replace when I auto-populate if there already is a value in that field. And then there's some more advanced options for storing additional text around the governing law result that the model finds. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and save this model. Now I can just click the Train Model button. Okay, I got my email notification and it looks like my model has completed training. So now I'm just going to refresh the page. And now I'll just walk through what just happened. So now we have a new model down here and we have a Heretic training result, which is just capturing some information around that model. We have version number, which is 1 because this is the first model we've created. System created on, which is simply the date that it was created. Total number of examples, which if you'll recall, our governing law reviewed save search had 113 examples. And then Heretic is simply divvying up 80% of those 113 examples to train and create a new model, and 20%, or 23 in this case, to give that model a test spin and see how it does. And for those 23, we already know what the governing law should be, because remember, these are examples that you sent to field in that governing law reviewed save search. So to summarize, Heretic is saying let's take 80% of those 113 examples, train and create a new model, and then test that model on 20% of those 113 to see how it does. And once it tests them and evaluates the model, it spits out some standard machine learning model scores like precision, recall, and F1. Now that I've created and trained a new custom extraction model, all I need to do is add it to an analysis profile and run it in an analysis set. So I'll head to my analysis profile tab, create a new Heretic analysis profile, call it governing law extraction. I'll put my email here so that I get an email notification when the analysis set completes. And for extraction models, I'll select that model that I just created and trained. Click Save. And now I'll head to my Analysis Set tab, create a new Heretic analysis set. I'll select the profile that I just created. And the save search that I'd like to run this on is governing law backlog, because remember, those were the 515 documents that had governing law blank, and I want to see how my new model does on those documents. Now I'll click Save, and finally, I'll click the Analyze button. It looks like analysis is completed, so I'll click this Refresh Page button. And now, I can go see how our little buddy did on that document set. So I'll head to the Documents tab, and I'll look at the Governing Law Backlog Save Search, which is what I just ran my analysis set on. And here, scrolling through the results, I can see how our new custom extraction model did on these documents. And at first glance, looking through these documents, it looks like it's done pretty well. Finally, I did want to briefly walk through the workflow of iterating on, refining, and improving this governing law extraction model that I've already created. The first step would be to scroll through and evaluate the results. And for any cases where I wanted to fix what my model auto-populated, I could simply click into that document. I could see what the model did, and I can also click to navigate to that result. In this case, let's say I didn't like how the model grabbed this sentence after laws of the state of Minnesota. I could simply clear this out, correct this to be laws of the state of Minnesota, send to field, and then I could promote this document as an example for the governing law phrase to move it into my governing law reviewed saved search. I'll click save. Now heading back to my reviewed saved search, I'll see that it went up by 1 as expected. And now, since I already have created a model, I can simply go to that model, click into it, and since it's already pointing to the governing law reviewed saved search, all I have to do is click the train model button again, and it will take the latest and greatest 114 examples, including that example that I just fixed. And once you've created several models over time, adding more and more examples, you can see that for each version, we will show the version number, the total number of examples, the number of training and tests, and you can see how the precision, recall, and F1 scores evolve as you add additional training data. If you find that an earlier version did better than a later version, you can always activate it as well, and that will be the model that you add to your profile. This was Custom Extraction Models in Heretic. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.